a year.
Oh, that's all.
Yeah, that's it. And they're no worse off or better off than the average chiropractic patient. It's just their cause of their pain is hypersensitivity of the nerve. But again, why is it hypersensitive?
Right.
Like doctors like to just name it and then call it good. You know what I mean? They're like, oh, you've got this.
You know
Boom.
how if all doctors worked with symptoms the way they do when people come in for allergies, wouldn't it be so much better?
Yeah, like why
Try
isn't
this.
an
Right.
active? Why is it not an active process of trying to figure stuff out?
Right.
Why is it? Oh, definitively speaking, I know nothing else to call it. I'm going to call it this. Boom, this is what
Take
you
this,
have.
right.
We have this medicine, or this medicine. What do you want? You know, but it's not. That's not individual. That's not individualized. And one thing that natural practitioners do is they really try to get to the root cause and get to the individual problem in that patient. And like I said, there's so many different things that I would check. I would check hormones. I would check organ systems. I would check muscles, bones, nerves, nutritional, emotional. We've talked about emotional trauma, how
Right.
that can lead to pains, you know, and PTSD and, you know, all kinds of different issues. What is it causing the fibro? I don't know. What can you do for it? Definitely different modalities that are available out there.
And keep trying. Don't be afraid to try different things. We've spoken about that too. Don't be afraid to keep looking until you find something that works.
Exactly. And the iron thing, like getting back to the topic, you know, there are a lot of things that you need to research. Don't just jump on a bandwagon.
Mm-hmm.
You know, don't just be like, oh, you know what? I'm tired this week. I think I'm going to start taking iron.
Right.
Because I've heard that if I take iron, I'm not going to be tired. Well, maybe it's something different, you know? So don't just jump on the bandwagon with things. I mean, reach out to professionals who know what they're doing, good practitioners. You know, just do your best. But if you don't feel good, don't just start arbitrarily taking things and testing them out. Because I'm telling you, that's going to make you crazy. I probably have 500 different supplements in my cupboard at home. If I took every single one of them every day, I would be, first of all, I would be super skinny because I would never eat because the supplements would just take over for the food. Yeah. But, I look up in that cupboard and like today, I got up. Or no, I'm going to give a better example. The other day, my husband and I went out to eat, and it was a super good meal. And then we went to the movies. And I got out of the movies, and I didn't feel good.
Uh-oh.
So it was in the dark, and I was in the car, and I started muscle testing myself. And I try to do it discreetly because I know Patrick always looks at me and he's always like, "What are you doing? What's wrong with you?" So I was trying to be discreet about it, and he looked over and he goes, "What is wrong with you?" And I was like, "What do you mean?"
I'm trying to figure it out.
I was like, "No." At first I was like, "What do you mean?" And he goes, "You're muscle testing yourself. Something is wrong. What's wrong with you?" And I laughed, and I said, well, I just don't feel right. Something is off. I don't know what it is, but I don't feel good. And I don't know if it's the food I ate or sitting in that theater, and it was, I got tired, and It was hot, and I was just like, oh, I don't know. And then it was like a lot of stimulation because it was Wonder Woman, which was...
Oh, I want to go see that so bad.
It was a pretty good movie. That's all I'm going to say about it. But it was long. So I was in the theater for a long time.
Right.
And so I got out, and I was just kind of woozy, and like, kind of sick to my stomach. You know what it was? We had ridden our bikes around like for maybe 2-3 hours in the heat. It was Saturday.
That's what it was,
It's
yeah.
90 degrees out, super high winds. I had gotten sunburned, didn't really realize it, but I had gotten pink on my shoulders. That's what it was. Mm-hmm. It was kind of a sun poisoning, not sun poisoning, but kind of a sun heat kind of illness thing. And I'm like, don't worry about it. It's just the sun. And it's like midnight. And he's looking at me like, oh, the sun is making you sick right now. I'm like, that's what my body's saying.
You know, and that's funny that you said that because we helped my son move on Sunday, and we were in Ohio, and that's closer to the equator. And it was
Very much so.
And it was humid, and we were going up and down steps, and I was fine all day Sunday, but Monday I didn't feel good.
Yes.
And that was going to be my topic today.
Shut up. Perfect segue.
We do
got
this
just the right
every single time. I love it. So my topic today was signs, to be aware of the signs that you are working too hard outside in the sun.
Perfect.
And,
yes.
And what to do when you realize it. And so we should talk about that. And the hydration thing comes right into that, too.
Yes. Make sure you're getting electrolytes. You're not just drinking plain water. And everybody says to me, oh, you mean Gatorade? And I'm like, well, I mean, that is a commercialized electrolyte drink, but there's a lot of stuff in there you may not want. There's good recipes for homemade Gatorade. Like, literally, you can make your own.
Is that right?
It's better for you. Putting a little salt in your water, all of those things help with hydration issues. But, yeah, you have to get some shade. You need to wear light colored clothes. They need to cover your arms so you're not getting, exposed to the sun. A lot of people don't like sunscreen, which I understand. There's chemicals to it, but there are natural versions. I mean, Google it. You will find natural versions of how to protect yourself from the heat and from the sun. And the biggest thing is don't overdo it. I had this lady come in this week to my office, and she's probably, my goodness, maybe 75, 78 years old. And she's like, I just love to be outdoors. And I was out in my garden all day yesterday. I didn't go in at all. And that was that 90 degrees. It was like 85, 90 degrees that day. And I was like, what are you thinking? And she's like, well, I didn't feel too good the next day.
Yeah?
I'm like, well, yeah. I'm like, I'm glad you could feel it all the next day because, honestly, that is how this stuff happens.
And a lot of people don't even think, they don't realize what's wrong. So let's talk about some of the symptoms. And I found a recipe for homemade Gatorade.
Oh, did you?
I will give that before we're finished today.
All right.
So dizziness, right? When you're out there, you can start getting dizzy. Mm-hmm. And if you notice that if you guys are working outside or you're boating, it could happen rowing a boat just as easily as it could working in your garden. If someone turns real pale, then you need to get them into some shade fast.
That's right. And also bringing their temperature down. You have to be careful how you're doing that.
Because if you do it too fast.
Don't go throwing them in a cold bath. I mean, that can shock their body right away. But, get them out of the sun. Get them in the shade. Get them some fanning on them and cooling off slowly kind of thing. Cool compresses, things like that. But not rubbing alcohol, not putting them in an ice bath, nothing
It's not
drastic.
a fever. It's different.
Right. And it's instead of it coming from the inside out, it's coming more from the outside in. And another sign of it is stopping sweating. If you're not sweating and it's hot, there's a problem. Like, you need to be sweating. You need to be drinking enough fluids that you are actively sweating. And it's hard on the days when it's windy, like that 90-degree day where it was super windy out.
Because it would dry your sweat.
It just, evaporates right off. I'm not sweaty. I feel good. I don't feel so good.
So what are some other signs?
I don't know.
Nauseous.
You got to tell me because I haven't thought about it in a while.
But think about how you felt. Yeah. Oh, yeah. And it doesn't have to be that day or when you're going through it. It could be the next day like it happened to you.
And it's not necessarily heavier people. A lot of people have this misguided notion that if you're heavy, you shouldn't be out playing basketball in the sun. Well, a 90-pound person could have just as big of a problem playing basketball out in the sun as a 290-pound person.
Right.
So heaviness doesn't really have to do with it either. It's your body. It's how is your body processing the heat, processing the fluids, processing everything that you're trying to do, expelling this energy, all of that. So, but that is good. That's a good thing to remember.
So, and if you are sick to your stomach afterwards, try to figure out why you're sick to your stomach. You
yeah,
know,
like you don't have to muscle
don't just
test like
take
me.
something though. Don't just take but
Pepto-Bismol.
yeah, just
Right?
don't take that. And
Right, don't just-
try to figure it out. Is it because you overexerted? Is it because you ate something? Is it because you didn't drink enough water? There could be countless reasons.
Mm-hmm. And just arbitrarily picking something and going for it isn't gonna. That can actually make things worse.
Ah.
You know, I have some people who hyperspasmic, so they like overdose themselves on magnesium. One of the signs and symptoms of too much magnesium is loose stools. But other than that, if you don't get that, it can turn
Then it's the
into
opposite.
hypermagnesemia, which is a super bad deal. It can make you feel really cruddy, and you could feel very sick. And you know, these are the types of things that I'm talking about. I want people to research anything they're going to take. Anything they're going to take, I want you to research it. I don't want you to take it because Aunt Sally's doctor told her it was good for her, and so it's obviously going to be good for you too. I want you to research it. Maybe you're already eating enough of that.
Right.
You know, Aunt Sally isn't eating eggs and liver and red meat. She don't have any teeth, so she don't chew the meat, and she doesn't eat the eggs.
She gums her corn, for goodness
Yeah,
sake.
but the doctor told her, you know, eggs were bad for her, for the
Right.
cholesterol, so she's not eating that stuff. Now, all of a sudden, she has pernicious anemia because she's low in B12. You know, I mean, it's just like, but that's Aunt Sally.
Mm-hmm.
So the doctor tells her, you need to take all this B12.
And she feels great, so she
feels
tells
great.
everybody.
Yep, and they're all like, oh, I'm going to get me some B12, you know, but no.
That's what Wonder Woman takes, you know.
Shut up. I love me some Wonder Woman. Don't even get me started. That's why I was like, the movie was good. It was good, but Wonder Woman is so magnificent and phenomenal, and just her whole being.
Oh, I can't wait to see it.
All I'm going to say is it fell short of my expectation.
Really?
It was a good movie, but it fell short of my expectation. Oh, my goodness. If I would have done that movie, Wonder Woman, first of all, would have been about 50 foot tall.
I have to go see it so we can talk about
Yeah,
it.
it was good. It was a good movie, but it wasn't Wonder Woman worthy, if you ask me, because she is so phenomenal.
What about, you know, everybody's go-to vitamin for a while, I almost want to say it was trendy, is vitamin C.
Vitamin
How do you
C.
feel about vitamin C?
Vitamin C is good to a certain extent, but again, you can get too much. The other
And
thing
again,
is,
it's water soluble as well, so that's why people tell you can take as much as you want.
Yes, and I remember my mom back in the day. I always got these little stories for you. Well, my mom used to buy these like big vats of vitamin C, and they were like 500 milligrams a piece, but they tasted like sweet tarts.
Oh,
she
right.
would give me handfuls.
Oh my gosh.
Handfuls of this stuff. And I'm like, I'm eating them because they taste good.
They're delicious.
They're very good. And I look back on it and I'm like, how did I survive? I really don't know how I survived, but I'd be like, Mom, can I have some vitamin C? And she's like, yeah, it's good for you. And she like gives me this big old like, yeah, oh my gosh. I was probably taking on any given day maybe 2,000 to 3,000 milligrams of vitamin C
Wow.
as a child.
Wow.
So what does that do to a person?
Then it was okay.
This is what it does to that
Well,
person.
yeah, look at you. You're fine. You're beauteous.
I don't know.
It's just the fact that you tap your toe all the time doesn't mean anything. That's not from vitamin C.
I really don't know. I don't know. I will never know because I don't know what I would have been like had I not taken 3,000 milligrams
Right.
of vitamin C a day.
Sure.
But my point, like as an adult, when I look at vitamin C is, you know, I want my body to have a great immune system. And vitamin C does a lot of things. It's
Boosts.
not just an
It's a
immune
booster.
booster. It is an immune booster, but it does a lot of other things. But as far as immune boosting goes, I am a big proponent of boost your immune when you feel something coming on.
Exactly.
But don't do it all the time.
That's exactly right. That's why people their bodies just get used to having that much. So when you are getting sick and you take it, it doesn't do anything because your body's already used to it.
Not only that, but your body depends on it, turns to a dependence on it. So when you are sick and you haven't been taking your vitamin C, boom, is it going to hit you? Because all of